Hello everyone, welcome to the volume 2 of the quick tip series from the North India chapter YouTube channel. My name is Aman Sharma. I'm an Oracle Ace, and this particular tip, or this particular volume 2 of the quick tip series, is about the new command line tool, or the SQL Plus enhanced version called SQLCL, or the SQL Developer Command line. As you can see, the SQL Developer Command line is available to you as a free command line interface, which you actually have available to you, and you can actually download it. And you can see that there is a download button. What you need is going to be Java runtime engine to actually run this particular tool in your environment. Now I have already downloaded and unzipped this particular tool, and I am already in that particular folder. You can actually notice that I'm in the folder of SQLCL, in the bin folder of it, and in this folder I've got a couple of binaries of the SQL. It's a very simple binary SQL which I have over here, and this is something which is native to the operating system on which you're going to run this particular tool. Since I'm on Linux, I will be actually executing it by saying /SQL. Now this particular binary is basically going to be prompting for the username and the password. Let's suppose we give the username as this and the password, and of course we are actually connected. So as long as in terms of the connectivity you have the Java runtime engine available, you can actually use this particular tool. And the Java runtime engine that you need actually to be available is for the version 1.7 or higher, 1.7 or higher. For the connectivity part, in terms of the SQL Plus, it is not exactly or you can say it's not, and the SQLCL is not really part of the Oracle client actually, so it wouldn't really be using the tnsnames.ora or assuming about the tnsname.ora by itself. In case you have configured the network environment or the environment variable of tnsadmin, whatever it is going to be pointing to, it is going to be reading that part. So the easiest method to connect to the network, or to say to the remote server, is by mentioning the information on the command prompt or in the connectivity string. Otherwise, if you really don't want to do that, you can actually use a new command which we have in this SQLCL called the net command. So you can actually see that net command basically can store the information of your network string. So what we can do is we can run something called show net, and as you can see, the net is actually online, and not is actually on. And what I can do, basically I can store the information of a certain connectivity string using the particular host name and the port number and the service name. I can actually mention this in terms of an alias. So for example, I can say something like alias my server, or my server, and I can mention here something as for example local host and 1521 and ORCL. Right, so I have mentioned this particular thing, and now if I mention this thing, I've got my particular server actually mentioned over here, that this is going to be the server that I'm going to be using, but I won't be really using it. This is how you can actually store the network in the system. So the SQLCL is actually the much better or enhanced version what we have got in the 12.2 database, and this is something which is sort of like much better in itself compared to the history option that we have got available in the SQL Plus of the 12.2, which is a native tool in the system. So the very first thing, of course, for any command line tool is to give you the help about the commands. And if you run the help command, just like we can do in the SQL Plus, we can see the commands available to us from the SQLCL. And you can see that there are many commands which are actually quite simple or straightforward compared to the previous version or the previous SQL Plus, but there are a few commands which are actually in the bold and also are underlined, and these are the new commands that we have got actually in the SQLCL, or some are going to be specific to the SQLCL. So let's get into it. I will not be going ahead or demonstrating all the particular new commands, but the most important ones. So let's try to check the most basic things that we do in terms of writing a particular query. So for example, I can actually see that I can write a query, and you can see that the query is actually going to be running by me by pressing tab, and you can actually notice when I press tab, the particular table name is getting appended automatically, or you can say getting completed automatically. Let's try to do this thing in much better way. So hopefully we can actually come out from this, and we can say ename and salary from Scott.emp, and there we go, the table name got completed. So that is there. Now the next thing which is sort of like very much required is that the use of the up and down arrow button, and I've just used that to execute this thing. And now let's try to do something else. So you can see even this particular option of the completion works for the column names as well, and you can actually notice the column names are actually, or you can say the completed names are in the uppercase. So of course the command is going to be there, and we can run this hopefully. Right, so something got wrong. Okay, so the from keyword got not found. Anyways, so that is going to be there. So that is how you can actually run with the command. So we can go for the history, and you can see in the history we have got lots and lots of commands shown to us. And history, as we can check with the help option, has got few of the options actually available. So you can see that with the history we have got the options of full. We can actually see the full history of the commands that we executed. We can see the history by the usability of the commands. So for example, we can say usage. Now you can see that it is history option is telling me that how many times a particular command actually got executed. So there are few commands which have been executed for one time. There are few commands which have been executed way more than one time. So you can see the CLSCR, or the clear screen, I've used actually for 5 times. Of course, I can go ahead and call a specific command. For example, I can call a command like 34, and of course that is there, so I can execute the command. Now this is where we actually come into the next step, or you can say one of the options that are again new from the SQLCL. So the SQLCL, of course, we can see there is a format that we have got actually over here in terms of the command output or the query output. And what we actually can do in terms of the SQLCL is to make this format even much better. Now this is the default format, as we know that it is going to be based upon the the data types and the length of the data type that we have got in the particular table. So what we can do actually from the SQLCL, we can set the format to ANSI console. And now if we try to run the query, let me just go ahead and call it, and you can see the output is actually much more clearer. It's actually much better in terms of a readability factor. So this is the output that we can actually have, and of course we can actually change the format in terms of different other formats as well. For example, SQL format, and we can say CSV, and you can see now the particular format is available to us in terms of the CSV. Of course we can store it now and use it in terms of in case we want to load it somewhere. Now let's check something which is going to be new actually from the SQLCL option. So we have something which is going to be called as an alias command. So let's check that out. So alias is actually a very good option in case you want to store a command which you want to use repeatedly, but you don't want to write the command again and again. So if I check this thing out, you can actually notice that I've got few aliases already created. For example, if I say locks, there's no variable that I've mentioned for this thing, but I've made an alias already myself called DT, which is actually, let me see, so sorry. So if I say DT, this is something which is actually showing me the date. So basically what you actually can do is drop DT, and this is how you can actually create this particular kind of alias. So that is what I did actually. Select sys date from 12, and now what I can do is I can just call this thing in terms of the shortcut, and I can actually run this. Sort of like a very good quick fix, or you can say a very good option to create a stored version of a command. And this option is not really just for the SQL commands. As you can see in the previous logs, it is going to be using the commands plus defined variables as well, and also this can be working in terms of PLSQL too. Now the next thing, which is something which I think is going to be very useful, is the enhancement to the describe, the good old describe command. So of course we've got this describe command which shows us the information about the object, but what we have got actually from the SQLCL, an option to make it even better. Now you can notice actually that when I run the command info, which is actually the new command, information, but when I run the command info, I can actually see the information about the table, not just about the columns and other such things, but I can also see the dependent objects like indexes, and I can see the information about the statistics of the object, like how many number of rows it got, the sample size that was taken, and whether it is having the in-memory option enabled or not, and such things. And it is even further possible to get this information in a more detailed format, and you can see actually that now the information is coming to us in terms of more detailed format. So we can actually see the information of many other things like the histograms that we have got on the table, the number of distinct values in a specific column, and so forth. So very nice touch to show more detailed information rather than you actually are requiring to get this information from the data dictionary views of the system. Another option that is again a new option is the CTAS. The CTAS is the create table as select. So let's connect actually first to the Scott and Tiger, and now let's check that we want to see that if we want to create another table of the employees table. Now you can notice that the CTAS command is basically going to look at the source table, which is EMP in this particular example, and it is going to give us the entire information how we can actually replicate this table in terms of a new table called EMP_C. And of course this command can be even further enhanced by you or used by you to format these options of the storage, like what exactly you want to be there or what exactly you don't want to be there. Very nice command, and of course because it is giving you an option to get this particular entire thing in a SQL, or you can say in a DDL command of create table, you can use it and customize it very easily rather than creating this thing something from the DBS metadata package or any such kind of way. There is another option called DDL, so we can actually use this option to find out the DDL of a certain table, that if in case we just want to have a DDL for the particular table, we can just get it from the DDL command. So we've got few other commands that we've got. For example, a very simple command but a very useful command called CD. Now CD command is something which is actually to change the directory in terms of the operating system, which basically means to say if you want to execute a specific file onto SQL Plus or SQLCL actually, and that for that particular file you actually want to change the path over to the operating system while sitting inside the SQLCL, now it is actually possible. So for example, let me jump over to a particular folder in my system, cd/home/oracle, and I've got this particular folder over here, and I've actually made a script, very simple script, which is nothing but showing the date. And you can see this command is actually now working, and we can actually see that this command is available to us over here, and I think more show d.sql. So we have got the command available to us. And now let's do one thing, and let's go to a different folder, which is actually the demo folder we have got over here. And we got a command over here called, for example, tbs, which is just a command to show you the table spaces information, but it is not in the same format, same folder that we've got right now. So let's go to that particular folder, and now we run the tbs. Of course the command is not going to be executing from the particular user called Scott, because it doesn't have the DBA privilege, but it does show us that we are trying to execute the command tbs, or trying to execute the script tbs.sql, which is actually present, but because of the permission issue is not executing. Now it will be very interesting to see that can we execute the same command that we previously executed successfully. which it is not working for the simple reason now we have changed the folder or changed the particular file path over to the operating system. So some commands which are going to be there, which are going to be very handy and very useful in terms of the SQLCL. So the complete help is going to be available to you in the SQLCL, or you can actually use the online documentation, or you can say the online help for the SQLCL. In our opinion, it's going to be very good option to use instead of using something like something from the third party, or in case you want to create such kind of thing on your own. Now you have a ready-made tool available from Oracle. So hope you are going to like this particular tool and use it much more often in your work from the 12.2, or from this particular SQLCL version 4.2 onwards. Hope you like this tip, and we will see you in another tip soon. Thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for watching.